Mention four-wheel drive to most Australians and you'll immediately conjure up a mind picture of a big 7 or 8 seat wagon taking the Simpson Desert in its stride, climbing near vertical mountains or fording deep rivers. Now, I guess that's a valid picture because that's the way in which four-wheel drives are promoted in Australia. But it's very true to say that most four-wheel drives in Australia never see even dirt roads, let alone true off-road conditions. And that the benefits of four-wheel drive go way beyond the ability to go off-road and to negotiate difficult surface conditions. Now, anybody who's owned a full-time four-wheel drive vehicle, such as an old Range Rover or Land Rover or an 80 series Land Cruiser or a Subaru, will tell you that the fact that their vehicle is in four-wheel drive all the time has given them great benefits as far as safety is concerned, and in situations where they may have lost traction, that hasn't happened and they've been able to drive out of difficult situations. Now, the disadvantage is, the downside of full four-wheel drive is the fact that there's a lot of machinery working away under the floor there, which is not necessarily needed full-time, which costs money to buy, which costs money to maintain, generates a rise in fuel consumption in the vehicle. So you do pay a price for vehicles which have full-time four-wheel drive. So obviously the compromise, in order to increase the safety for motorists by giving them all-wheel drive, is to give them all-wheel drive when they need it and two-wheel drive when they don't need the all-wheel drive. And that's been a technological problem which has taxed the ingenuity of engineers for a long time. Now, the vehicle I'm driving here is a Honda CRV. It was released late in 1997, and it has a remarkable technology which allows the vehicle automatically to sense when all-wheel drive is needed and provide that all-wheel drive, but which carries with it no disadvantages when the vehicle is being driven on the road and therefore needs only its two-wheel drive. Now, I'll tell you more about that technology in a moment, but before we get to that, let's look at the general layout of the Honda CRV. The CRV is a compact 5-seater station wagon with body styling which heralds its four-wheel drive basis, giving the vehicle a wide stance with a wheel in each corner. The body has been shaped to allow easy manoeuvring in tight parking spaces, and with a wheel so close to the extremes of the body, entry and exit angles are very steep. The interior is extremely spacious for the overall size of the vehicle and features unitary construction with extensive sound insulation. The road height has been designed to allow easy entry and exit, and the car features plenty of storage, a fold-down armrest in the automatic version, which makes driving comfortable indeed, and a cup holder between the seats, which folds away to allow movement between the front and rear compartments. The seats are fully adjustable, and a watertight storage compartment under the rear floor is covered by a panel which converts to a very useful picnic table. The engine is a real jewel. With twin belt-driven overhead cams and 4 valves per cylinder, the 2-litre unit is perfectly matched to the car, and once again Honda has broken new ground with its sequential block design. All 4 cast iron cylinders are cast as a single unit, with the alloy block cast around it. This reduces the overall size and weight to that of a 1.6-litre engine, whilst bringing benefits in noise reduction, overall strength and rigidity, and heat dissipation. Multi-point program fuel injection is used, and the intake manifold is designed to effectively muffle intake roar and boost mid-range torque. The vehicle comes with either a 5-speed manual transmission or the Honda Grade Logic 4-speed automatic. This senses when to shift using throttle position, road speed, and rate of acceleration or deceleration to determine the appropriate gear. This gives engine braking on downslopes and further contributes to the excellent overall fuel economy. We drove the vehicle for 2,000 kilometres in all conditions, and it returns slightly better than 10 litres per 100 kilometres fully laden with people and gear. The 4-wheel independent suspension is by double wishbones all around, with the design giving excellent control over body pitch and roll. This, along with the lusty performance from the engine, makes the CRV a true driver's car. with handling, acceleration and braking comparing closely to that of a sports car. The ride over rough roads surpasses that of the average sedan and was far better than any four-wheel drive I've ever driven. This is achieved by a combination of long travel suspension, low spring rates and high pressure valve shock absorbers, all ensuring that the large 15-inch wheels stay in contact with the roughest roads whilst transferring minimal movement to the body. And this brings me to the feature which sets the CRV apart from all of its contemporaries. It's basically a conventional front-wheel drive car. The real-time four-wheel drive system is designed to provide power to the rear wheels only when there is insufficient traction for the front wheels. It consists of two hydraulic pumps, one driven by the front wheels via the propeller shaft and the other driven by the rear wheels through a multi-plate clutch via a differential. On the road, both pumps operate at the same speed with no load transferred to the engine. If the front wheels spin faster than the rear, such as on snow or ice, hydraulic pressure proportional to the difference in wheel speeds is generated, opening a valve and driving the rear wheels through the clutch. The system is fully automatic without electronics, is maintenance-free apart from a fluid change every 120,000 kilometres, is silent in operation and is far lighter than a conventional four-wheel drive system. Its design is brilliant, providing a high level of safety and off-road capability to the vehicle whilst carrying no penalty in running costs or mechanical complexity. Now, if you think I'm impressed with the CRV, you're right. It has qualities which make it the perfect urban family vehicle, seats 5, plenty of room inside, all of the other changeable qualities that it has in the interior. It has that superbly engineered, really brilliant all-wheel drive system, which happens on demand, as we've already seen. And when it gets down to it, it's tremendous fun to drive. So it adds an element of driving pleasure, which is not generally found in the pretty mundane range of small sedans that are on the market at the moment. That's taking nothing away from them, but they do everything that's required, but they are a little mundane. This vehicle adds a sportiness, a pleasure to driving, which I haven't found in modern vehicles in recent years. It brings it back in, and it has that added brilliant feature of the fact that the all-wheel drive facility, which makes it so perfect on the road, also makes this vehicle capable of handling the average family's off-road requirements. A superb little vehicle, the Honda CRV. Welcome back. Most people think of sea anchors as life-saving devices, and we've all read and seen photos of people coming across bars and people drifting at sea with long lengths of rope and sometimes car tyres and buckets and things trailing out the after end or the bow of their yacht or cruiser in order to keep the head of the boat into the prevailing seas. But a new innovation has come along which not only provides that safety facility, but also gives you a general use and very practical benefit. It's called the Para Anchor, and it uses airborne parachute technology, but obviously made out of much heavier materials, to make a very compact and easily folded sea anchor device which can vastly improve your fishing catch, and this is how it does it. If you look at these shots of the Trident tri-hull, which is drifting with its engine stopped, the tide is actually running from the right to the left of your screen, but the wind is blowing from the left to the right. And in this shot, you can see quite clearly that the Trident is being affected by the wind rather than the tide, and that's due to the fact that it's a planing hull. And as with most planing hulls, which form about 90% of our boats nowadays, they're far more affected by wind than they are by tide, because there's a lot more boat above the water than there is below. Now have a look at this shot of the Trident with the Para Anchor deployed, and you'll see that she's being directly affected by the tide rather than the wind. Now, the benefit when you're fishing, particularly offshore and drifting, is that under normal circumstances, your boat will cover the ground quite rapidly under the influence of the wind. But if you deploy the Para Anchor, the effect of that wind drift has been either eliminated or completely minimised, and therefore you will stay over your chosen fishing spot for a lot longer. And there's a great advantage in that. It means that you don't have to every 10 or 20 minutes start the engine up and re-find your reef or your fishing spot with your fish finder and then run your drift back over the top of it. In other words, your drift rate is slowed down to a significant degree, which allows you to stay over the top of the fish for a far longer time. A great advantage. The other advantage is, as I've said, it's very compact. You can fold it up into a very small bag and stow it in a locker or under a bunk somewhere so that it's well out of the way. The other advantage is if you are negotiating a bar in very heavy seas, and there is a risk of broaching, you can trail one of these anchors on a long line, and it will mean that your stern will be kept into the seas and you eliminate the possibility of broaching. So it is a great safety device. And speaking of safety, one of the problems rescue authorities have is in actually locating the sector of ocean in which a distress boat is located. And sometimes between the time that the distress call is made and the aircraft arrive overhead or the Coast Guard arrives, the boat has drifted quite a long distance under the influence of the wind. And of course, these things always happen when the wind is blowing hard. If you have a power anchor aboard, you deploy that, immediately you have the problem, and you will stay within a much smaller radius of your original call position for a much longer time, therefore greatly increasing the chances or reducing the time it takes to be rescued. Now, as I said before, power anchors use the same basic dynamics as airborne parachutes, but of course, aerodynamics in the case of airborne is translated into hydrodynamics in the case of power anchors. And whilst they have the same general configuration and appearance as airborne parachutes, they're made from much stronger and heavier material so that they can cope with the huge drag forces. They come in sizes for boats from the smallest dinghies up to a massive 30 metres diameter for small ships, trawlers and yachts. And of course, the harder the wind blows, the more useful and effective the power anchor is. There's a comprehensive and informative brochure available, so jot down the number at the end of the show and we'll make sure you get one. The extremely useful power anchor from Albie McCracken. You know, no business is easy to run in Australia's business climate in the late 80s and the 90s. And businesses within the marine industry have proven quite clearly that they're even more difficult than most to run, because over the last 5 or 6 years, a large number of businesses, both long established and new in the fiberglass marine boat building industry, have fallen over. But right through all of those problems, the Steber organisation has steamed full ahead. In fact, Steber were established around about 47 years ago. They moved to Taree just on 20 years ago, and about 16 years ago, we first came in contact with them, and for all of that time, we've covered the progress of the various models of boats that they design and build in the factory here and export all over the world, both in the form of segments on the show here and also their corporate marketing videos, which are used worldwide. And I've always had a huge amount of admiration for Steber because of the fact that they are so dedicated to what they do. They really believe in what they do. They apply values which have really not been applied by the bulk of marine boat builders in Australia to their products, in that they have the same philosophies and the same dedication to what they do as old-time shipwrights and boat builders did. In effect, most Australian boat builders for the last 15 or 20 years have been boat makers rather than boat builders, because fiberglass lends itself to making things rather than building. Steber have never done that. They've blended the values and the technology and the high standards that shipwrighting and marine engineering have always had with the new fiberglass technology in a way that's better and deeper than any other boat manufacturer I've seen in Australia. Now, I'm standing in front of a model of their very latest design, which is the Steber 43, and this is the second size of Steber to follow a brand new styling trend which was established with the Steber 52, which we shot a couple of years ago with these beautiful pictures in the Whitsundays. The 43 follows that same basic styling philosophy, and that will move further and further down into their smaller sizes. And these two models that you see here are based on the 43 hull. This one is the luxury cabin cruiser, and that one over there is a commercial fishing boat. And as you can see, it has basic accommodation with a huge open aft cockpit. This one, of course, has a full superstructure with an incorporated flybridge. And by the way, Stebercraft have traditionally made use of large-scale models of their boats to give an overall impression of the look and the feel and the interior layout. And these pictures certainly show how well the models work. But Stebe are not content with bringing in new styling trends, and with their superb engineering and presentation and performance of their boats, have also taken very seriously the way in which the dynamics of their factory is set up. Now, there's been a lot of concern in recent years about the potential toxicity of polyester resins and other resins and fiberglass materials in the workplace. And Stebe have taken that very seriously. They've set up an environmental system within the factory which allows all of the solids and the vapours to be extracted from the atmosphere within the factory. And also they have implemented new layup techniques which make the laying up of these large fiberglass mouldings pretty well as advanced as any manufacturer in Australia is at this stage, and it's certainly clear that Stebe will stay ahead of the trend. The other way in which they've taken their business seriously is their setup of a special classroom within the factory. Now, this classroom is there to train their employees and also to provide training facilities for employees of other fiberglass manufacturers in the detailed techniques, not only of the environmental aspects of fiberglass, but also to enable the material to be used to its absolute maximum. And it's often puzzled me that the fiberglass industry, particularly the marine industry, hasn't done this in the past, because it's most important that boats of all things be built to the highest possible standards. Now, fiberglass is a pretty versatile material, and you can either slap it into a mould and the boat will work but will potentially give trouble, or you can engineer it in the way in which other materials are engineered, and it gives an overall performance and particularly a longevity as far as hull life is concerned that's unsurpassed by any other material. We've had a tremendous response over the last couple of years to our special exclusive range of polarised fishing glasses. Now, these glasses come in the form of leather side guard and nose guard with an elastic strap, which are dedicated fishing glasses, or wraparounds, which are used for fishing but also for general wear. I don't recommend the leather side guard for general wear because your peripheral vision is impaired to a degree, and I don't think that they're safe for driving. Certainly perfect if you're out on the boat and ideal if you're fishing. The wraparounds overcome those problems and they're ideal for general wear. Now, about a year ago, we added these clip-ons for people who wear prescription glasses. They are polarised. They have all of the qualities of the other lenses. Not only are they all polarised, but they also filter UVA and UVB rays, so they protect your eyes, and they're perfect for as general wear sunglasses. Now, the winter fishing season is starting. A lot of people will be taking advantage of both salt and freshwater fishing during the winter of 1998. And Monica and I have gotten together and decided to give you a little bonus. If you buy our standard pack of polarised glasses at $39.95, 2 pairs for $39.95, including the covers and also the lanyards, plus $8.50 postage and handling, we will give you a pair of these clip-ons free of cost. Now, as I said, they are polarised, they're excellent quality. I wear them all the time when I'm driving and when I'm fishing. They certainly are superb. You get them free of cost, bringing the value of the pack up to around $68.45, but you're getting it for $48.45. That includes the postage and handling. If you also would like our $20 diver's watch, a 30-metre diver's watch, that's an extra $20 on top of the price. The same postage and handling applies. Now, the special offer is on for a limited time, and when you ring up to order, mention the special offer. Give us a call on the 1-800 free call number that's on your screen now. A product which is exclusive to Chris Conroy's Leisure World and which has had a huge amount of success in the marketplace to my personal gratification is our Air Australia series. Now, obviously, my involvement in aviation means that these videos come from the heart. They cover the Australian restored warbird scene as well as general sporting aviation. And as I said, they've been hugely successful. In fact, I expect that there have been more Air Australia sold than any other Australian-produced aviation video. Now, Air Australia 1, 2 and 3 are on the marketplace now, and I have people clamouring for Air Australia 4, and we're in the final stages of post-production of Air Australia 4. One of the features in that video will be a coverage of Jeff Trappett's superb Mustang, P51 Mustang, which we shot recently air-to-air at Kingaroy. Have a look at some beautiful pictures. Now, you also saw in those pictures formation shots of Jeff Trappett's CAC windshield, designed and built in Australia as a trainer to replace tiger moths and chipmunks. Again, a very rare aircraft. Air Australia 4 will be out within the next 3 weeks. Give us a call, get your order in for early delivery. If you're looking to the off-season to buy a fishing boat this year, Modern Boating for May-June is the magazine to see. Now, it has a comparison test between 13 fishing boats made out of fiberglass, aluminium, plate, or even catamaran hulls. And a comparison between all of these boats will certainly allow you to decide which boat is going to suit you best for your particular purpose, whether it be the material you're looking at, fiberglass or aluminium, hull configuration, monohull or catamaran, or the interior layout, and you can combine all of them. Boat tests cover the Princess V52, the Bertram 45, the Leader 12 metre, and the Grand Banks, which in my opinion is a superb displacement style cruiser. There's an interview with singer Jimmy Buffett. Jimmy is also a very keen boating man. And there's also a rundown on Australia's top residential marinas. Now that's topical, because over the next few weeks we'll be also covering some of the marina resort residential developments that are springing up on the Gold Coast. And it seems to be that marinas are now attracting not only resorts but also residential development. And it certainly combines, if you're in any type of boating, a wonderful combination of lifestyles. Modern Boating for May-June 1998 is the magazine to buy. Make sure you grab it from your newsstand. That wraps us for another week. We'll see you next week with another show. In the meantime, take care and safe boating.